Today is Saturday, November 16th, 2024. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for Survivor 47, Week 9.
Week 9. And we've got, I think, 17?
I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. 17 super fans, we'll say, checking in on Week 9, giving their thoughts and predictions. I'm excited to hear this. I'd posed a question: who's your least favorite for, your most favorite for? Answer both, one, the other, whatever you want from that perspective. And we got some responses on that. So it's
yes, and you're correct, 17.
Okay. I give you a chance to count them
yes,
up.
Yes, I counted.
Okay. And so I'm looking forward to hearing those answers, and also looking forward to just more general feedback on the season. So good stuff.
Cool.
Anything we need to cover before we kick into it?
I do not think so.
First up, we got a call from Pete.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. Are you kidding me? Can you dig this season, baby? Loving it. Sad about the outcome, but I'm loving this season. So let me let out a great big woo! And man, what an awesome, phenomenal episode. And I so feel for Saul. I'm sure you guys said it. I'm in your recap. I feel like he offered a lot. He was likable. And I think if he made it to the end, even with Teeny, say him and Teeny and someone else were at the end, I think he could have won. To me, he was a good social player. I know he didn't win any challenges, but I really love Saul, and I'm sad he got blindsided. But what I want to say is, truly, I honestly thought maybe because it was too late with the sun setting, when Sam started to cause chaos there, when Rachel told him about the Saul blindside, I really thought it was going to work, that Saul, Sam, Rachel, Nutty Cuckoo Andy, with Teeny, and they were able to somehow switch Genevieve's mind to blindside Sue, and even maybe get rid of physical threat Kyle finally. But no, even with that live tribal and Probe saying we'll stay here all night, it was for nothing. Genevieve, I guess we'll give her the credit. Her plan came to fruition, and Saul, he was blindsided, but it was unanimous blindside, because clearly he was the only one that voted for Sue, with Caroline having no vote. But I loved the earn your vote back there when the four went to Andy, Sam, Caroline, Rachel, went to that island to try to get their votes back when they had to work together but play against each other. I thought that was great. I was hoping it'd be Andy because it would be hilarious, but it was Caroline. And hey, hats off to Gabe for winning a challenge, someone other than Kyle. I'm not a huge fan of Gabe. I feel like he's full of himself, but he is a threat, though. Now he's got a challenge win. He's got Sue under his back pocket. Kyle is like a shield, so I got to give Gabe a little bit of credit, but what are these guys smoking, though? To me now, if Gabe or Kyle don't win the next challenge, you got to get rid of one of them, or it's going to be easy picking for them to make it to the end and win, in my opinion. Sue, forget it, is attached to Gabe. She could be considered a GOAT, even though she's the oldest woman in her upper fifth. I mean, that would have been great if they blindsided her. Right now, I feel like it's anyone's game, but Genevieve, I think you're going to watch out for her. That girl is a sneak and playing both sides. You think Andy's rough. I think you're going to watch out for Genevieve, though, for sure. And I'm hoping Sam or Teeny can make something happen. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I gotta hear Saul's interview, because it looks like he was blindsided as to why it didn't work out with Sam, Teeny, Rachel in the last minute. He must have thought it was too late as well. Gotta hear his interview, see if there are any cool extra clips, though they're not too much now. Great episode, though. Loving it. Take care. Woo.
Whoa, thanks, Pete. Yeah, Saul said that they gave him extra time. They ran kind of late, and I think you could see that in the sequence, how it was getting darker and darker.
So you had time to listen to the interview?
Yeah, I watched some interviews.
Wow.
What
Good
is
on
that
you.
supposed to mean?
Well, I didn't know that you did.
Well, I try to do that every week to see what they were saying and to be
know.
able to comment or answer questions and things
Well,
like
we
that.
just, with the family reunion today and all, I just didn't.
Well, I did that earlier. I usually do that stuff on Thursdays.
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't
well,
always
I'm
remember 'em.
impressed.
Okay. He didn't have a lot else to say, I don't think. There's a few things. Maybe I'll remember them as we go along, but there were no deep insights or anything like that I recall.
Okay.
He just came across again as a great guy. Sorry, we didn't get more of his gameplay kind of thing. Good deal. Thanks, Pete. Next up, we got a call from Christiana.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Christiana from Massachusetts calling in with my feedback for this week. I have been a little bit behind on Survivor. I had a busy couple weeks, but I'm all caught up and was able to watch live this week, and I now need to get on this new East Coast noon schedule for feedback, which,
Yes.
by the way, congrats on the move. I'm glad you guys are settling in. I really liked this week's episode. I'm loving this season. I love this cast. I think that they're awesome. They're really entertaining, strategic, smart, funny, all that. I wasn't so upset about seeing Saul go. He didn't really do it for me, although anyone that had to spend that much time with Rome deserves a medal, truly. But I thought that it was interesting that they decided to go for him, or Genevieve wanted him instead of Kyle. I feel like they could have universally done Kyle and it would have been totally understood, even though I also love Kyle. I agree with you all. I think he just seems like such a stand-up guy, clearly a good player. I would love to see a little more strategy from him, and maybe we will in the future, but I do feel like without winning, his days are numbered, because everyone must see that he is a shoo-in winner if he were to get to the end. And I had a question about the vote out, because there seemed to be such mass confusion, and I know of course it's cut that way, but even at Tribal Council with all the whispers and the live aspects and the conversations, was that all for show? Because it didn't seem like ultimately it was a completely unanimous vote for Saul. Even Teeny voted for Saul. So was that the plan the whole time? And we just didn't see them kind of coming back to that, because it seemed like they had completely moved off that plan and then went to Kyle and then went to Sue and back to Kyle and back and forth. And I thought the Saul thing had gone out the window. So good for Genevieve for pulling that off. I agree. I'm curious where she goes from here. I had this thought that if she seems to just be able to like pull in coalitions to vote a certain way, and that she doesn't really have a lot of loyalty at this point, which maybe will bite her sooner rather than later. But I wonder if she could pick off Gabe or Caroline or both and then put her as Sue's number one, and I'm sure she would see Sue as a GOAT, even though that's not even totally fair. I think Sue is a relatively legitimate player, probably not the strongest of this group, but is much better than most women her age at Survivor. And yeah, I think that would be interesting. I don't know if she can pull that off, because she kind of needs to vote with them, seeing as she has probably alienated Teeny permanently. But I don't know. And to answer your question, I really thought about this. I don't know who my least favorite players are, but I honestly am a sucker for an underdog story. I am loving Andy. I don't know how he can possibly win, although with the edit he's getting, I'm like, oh my God, is he the winner? That would be crazy, but I'm enjoying his story for as long as it can possibly last. I think Genevieve is super smart, loving Rachel. I think she's super smart. Like I said, I love Kyle. He just seems like a cool dude. But honestly, I think everyone kind of has a legitimate shot. Just knowing the show so well, I know who are the true winning contenders based on the edit, but I don't think anyone is playing like terribly right now. Looking forward to hearing what everyone else has to say. Have a great week. Bye.
Excellent. Thanks,
I
Christiana.
agree, and that's really nice.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that there's not like a huge group of them, the majority of them, that you're disappointed in and wondering how could they possibly have anything to offer. You just don't want that at week 9. And so this is so refreshing. I think I've said it. I don't know if it's because the previous few had such poor gameplay and that's throwing my perception off, but this one just continues to delight every week. So I'm
Awesome.
Yeah,
Delight
so-
is good.
excited for 47. And it's week 9. Thanks again, Christiana. Next up, we got a call from Robert.
Hey, Joanna, Stacy, and Survivor fans. This is Robert from Canada calling in. I hope that everyone enjoyed this week's episode. For me, I thought it was actually better than last week's with the auction. I enjoyed the extra tribe time that we got this episode. In terms of the JSFL and the Fantasy League, it was a little bit of a disaster for me this week. I had Gabe going home, so that should tell you how things went for me. It seemed like at the start of the episode I had a decent chance at getting a vote-off point as his name was getting thrown out there. And then he got paired up with Kyle, and I felt pretty good about that because, hey, Kyle's going to win immunity, right? And then Gabe goes and wins immunity and beats out Kyle. I don't think a lot of us had that on our Survivor bingo card for this week. I thought the challenge was pretty good. It was interesting when it was the 4 people losing their vote. I'm not a fan of people losing their vote, but with 4 people losing their vote, I was like, wow, that's going to really affect the tribe dynamics. And then as it turns out, it's only 1 person losing their vote, and it's kind of, had less of an effect, I would say, overall. And I don't know. I prefer people just to keep their vote. I think ever since Jeff no longer considered your vote at tribal council to be something sacred, I think they just mess around with it too much, and I just prefer to see everybody keep their vote and just let the game play that way. Unfortunately this week, in addition to not getting a vote-off point, I unfortunately put Saul as safe. I thought to myself, who in the world's going to target Saul? He's not really winning challenges, and he's not really a big threat strategically, at least like an opinion of people that are playing the game. But here we are. I really thought that if Kyle lost, they would target Kyle. And I thought that Kyle would win and they would end up targeting Gabe. But nope, they had to get rid of my boy Saul. And I'll definitely miss Saul playing. As will Teeny, obviously. As far as who I think has a good chance at winning this game and who doesn't, I think that Rachel definitely has a good chance at winning this game. I think Genevieve, if she can make it, she's strategically making a lot of these calls. She's kind of like the Black Widow of the season. I think she has a chance. I think Teeny may have a chance, although I'd say it's a teeny chance. I think she has good relationships, but I don't think she's necessarily driving the game. I don't really see Kyle winning unless he literally wins every immunity challenge to the end, but it'd have to be a Mike Holloway type win, and I'm guessing that they don't put that much stock into winning immunities just to make yourself a winner of the game anymore, and that's why they chose to keep him. As far as my prediction for next week on who's going to go home, I think it largely depends on who Andy chooses to side with. We could see a big target like Genevieve or maybe Kyle go home, or we could see somebody like Sam or Rachel go home. So I'm not quite sure how it's going to play out, but I look forward to hearing all the other fans' feedback. You guys just take care.
Thanks, Robert. Yeah, that you could easily see that we're going to end up with more Andy revenge, and he could just take credit for the Sam
Sue
too.
hasn't gotten her revenge yet.
Yeah, that's true.
So don't forget about the Sue revenge.
I feel like we kind of hit the reset button with Kyle losing, though. So maybe that'll, if he can win again, it's not as intense, I guess. And so maybe that'll.
And Sam's got a little revenge going too. So a lot of revenge.
Next up, we got an email from JohnR in Michigan. Joanna, Stacy, I hope you're settling into your new home and working through any issues you encountered when you arrived. You crack us up with that one. Well, we're working through them. We won't be through them.
Yes, we have 3 different companies hired. The first, the demolition and rebuild starts later this week.
Yeah.
And for the room that the floor is caved in, and and the wall has to be, the roof has to be jacked up, and
More than you wanted to know.
And
John,
that's just the tip of the iceberg.
John continues, it's great to have you back podcasting. Your recap and feedback shows make watching Survivor even better. Thanks, John. I really enjoyed last night's episode, especially the chaotic tribal council with everyone talking at once while Jeff tried to ask questions. I'm amazed they all ended up on the same page with the vote. I thought the votes would be more spread out. I'll have to rewatch to catch everything that was happening. I don't know if you can. There was definitely a lot of chaos there. Looking ahead, I feel like the tribe might turn on Genevieve in the coming weeks, especially if she leads the vote again next week. Gabe told Kyle last night, this is all Genevieve, indeed. And that was, they showed that to us for a reason. If Genevieve senses that Gabe and Kyle are concerned about her, she might make a move against them before they can target her. whatever happens, it'll be fun to watch. I originally picked Kyle as my USB, but I wasn't confident he'd make it to the end. I could hear Stacy's voice saying sunk cost fallacy. So I decided to switch my USB to Rachel. I think Rachel, Teeny, Andy, and Sue have a good shot at making it to the end. For the next several weeks, I think Gabe, Kyle, Genevieve, Sam, maybe Caroline could be in trouble. Caroline is a tough one to read. She seems close with Sue, but does she have anyone else? She might end up being an easy vote for the others. I'm looking forward to hearing what other Survivor fans have to say on Saturday and seeing the next sneak peek videos for next week. Have a great week, everyone. Thanks, John. Good job, bud.
Maybe she's a sleeper. We just don't know. They're not showing us all of her.
Keep a good thought for your USB.
We'll see.
Next up, we got a call from Rebecca.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Rebecca calling from Northern California with feedback. I lost my second USB just about a week after I chose him. Bye-bye, Saul. It was predicted by friends on the Facebook page that he would be a likely vote out, but I couldn't put a vote on Saul. I liked him too much, and he was my USB. I could also not put a vote on Kyle. I liked him so much, and I'm actually really glad that Kyle is still there. Sad that Saul left. Really happy that Kyle is still there because he's just a dynamite player. I'm a little worried about Genevieve because it seems to me like she is basing a lot of her, I'm going to use air quotes, strategic decisions on her emotional feelings about the other players. Like Keishan, that she voted out early because he told her what to do, and nobody tells me what to do. And now she had a vendetta against Saul, but not for any strategic reason. I feel like there were other, better, more challenging, more threatening players that might have been better to go out on that vote last night, and she went with emotion, playing with vengeance. I worry that that could trip her up. I actually would like her to get voted out now because I don't like her as much as the other players anymore. I just listened to your podcast before. I don't like Sue. I don't like that Sue and I are roughly the same age, and she has to act like that's really old, and she has to say she's younger. P.S. Sue, you don't look younger. You actually look older. But I'm also very distracted by her face and her bosom. Not really a fan of Gabe, although last night I did see how much power he has in the game, and that impressed me. I thought that was great, but I feel like he kind of throws his weight around, and I don't like the way he refers to Sue and Caroline as his wounded birds, and I feel like they're watching this and they're watching the way he's describing it. That would hurt their feelings. So no, don't like Sue, don't like Gabe. I'm not a fan of Genevieve right now, not so much. And I don't like Andy. I feel like Andy is one of those players who's just all over the place. The chaotic player, that archetype, I'm just not a fan of. People I like a lot. I loved Saul, but he's on the jury now. I actually like Sam very much, and I find him very strategic, and I think they only wanted him out because he was such a good player. I still don't understand why they went for Sierra instead of Sam, because I felt like Sam was the stronger player. So yes, I like Sam very much. Gabe is my all-time #1 favorite. I hope he keeps winning every single immunity challenge and wins the whole game. I like Teeny a lot. I find her very sweet, but Stacy said today she's just sort of a, going along for the ride player, not really threatening, doesn't seem like much of a threat, doesn't seem like a threat to win the game. And I really like Rachel. She seems like a sweetheart. She had me at putting rice in her pocket. Very much enjoying the season. Very, very much enjoying the season. You guys have a great weekend. I hope things are going so well for you in Georgia, and your box pile has diminished, and the unpacking is going smoothly. Thank you all for so much for what you do. Have a great day. Bye.
Thanks, Rebecca.
I wish that too.
Oh, the box pile's diminishing.
I know. I got those 2 empty ones off of there.
Rebecca wants revenge on Genevieve. I like that twist.
There you go.
Next up, we got a call from Rashmi.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy and all my Survivor friends. Saul is gone and I'm so sad because he was my USB and I really did like him. So this season I've really been enjoying Every episode has been great fun. The extra twists are what put me off is, every time somebody losing a vote and all that is a little bit annoying, but still, I'm loving it. My 4 most unlikable characters this season, I think Sue is at the top, and the only reason is because I'm a shallow person, is her janky lips, and they just put me off every time I see her. Caroline comes along as a really damp squid for me. Who else? Yeah, Gabe, maybe, and Genevieve. Now, with Saul gone, I think my favorite is Rachel. And somehow, with all the weird stuff Andy's done, I quite enjoy watching him. So, yeah, and who will go next? I just think it might be Kyle if he loses, and these people should be so careful, the rest of the players, that if he loses, they should be just voting him off. So it's so lovely to hear all your voices, and especially Joanne and Stacy, and I hope you're well settled in your new home. Cheers, bye.
Cheers. Thanks, Rashmi. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Drew.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. Hey, everyone. This is Drew. I'm going to have to get used to this. Not noon, not Pacific time deadline. It's just throwing me off a little bit, but what a great week of Survivor. The kids and I really enjoyed it. Just the big, I guess you could say, scramble toward the end, but it was more just kind of like a mayhem, sort of like a confusion of what's going to actually happen, who's going to go, and there's just a lot of different moving pieces, a lot of moving thought processes, and I think that made it really exciting. The challenges, especially the kids, were like over the moon, like the obstacle course element, and then the Jenga, like the tile stacking, they were all about that. So that was really fun. And yeah, of course, it's just like the best laid plans. You just have to adapt. What I think about is so great about Survivor is that they just are constantly having to change their plans, change their target, change their directive, and I think that's making this season really good. I am sorry to see Saul go, but I didn't have him to go, too far. I didn't expect him to be Final Four or anything, but I did think that he and Teeny had something going on, and as far as just making some moves and getting some traction, but we were just glad it wasn't Kyle, and it wasn't even close to Rachel, but I was kind of hoping for Sue. I just thought that for a second it looked like it might go that direction. So I think that Sue isn't actually going to make it to the Final Four, so somehow or other, if she or Gabe don't win immunity next, I think that one of them might be gone. So that'd be okay. I'd like to see Kyle. I'd like to see Rachel. I'd like to see even Teeny. But I don't think they'd probably let Teeny get there either. Genevieve. Oh, isn't it cute kind of how Kyle calls her Genevieve every time? I just think that's funny. So anyway, everyone have a good weekend. Went running again today, but it was mid-30s, so 10 degrees can make a huge difference in one direction or the other. So once you get going, the blood's flowing, you feel really good, and it's perfect running weather, in my opinion. Anyway, so see you later. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Drew. Yeah, wouldn't it be interesting to see Kyle get wind of Sue's plan to vote him out to get her revenge, I guess, and then he's able to flip and get the 5 majority that they need to target her without her knowing it.
Ooh. But she's got an idol.
That's why it's got to be without her knowing it.
Got to be quiet. They can't tell Caroline. They can't tell Gabe.
They got to let her think it's a unanimous on Kyle.
Yep.
And then that would really test Gabe. We would get to see, because he's so insulated, like someone else was talking about, with Kyle in front of him, with Sue and Caroline around him. That would really test him if somehow they were to get Sue out next.
I just don't know if anyone knows how really close they are.
Doesn't seem like it. From what we're being shown, doesn't seem like it.
Seems like they're keeping that under wraps, so.
Good stuff. Thanks, Drew. Next up, we got an email from Tara in New York.
Hi, everyone. This was another exciting episode, and I was blindsided once again by the vote. I'm sad to see Saul go, but it's still been so much fun to watch. The interaction between Rachel and Andy on the beach was interesting, but I'm not sure how to take it. Rachel saying, "Oh, Andy," when he says he wants to move with her through the rest of the game, struck me as odd. Even though her confessionals seem to show that she is open to it, I'm not so sure. The scene looked pretty uncomfortable, So I guess we'll have to wait and see. Even though the challenge was fun, I wish Jeff would stop splitting everyone up and taking away votes. All the swears were flying in my house at that point. Jeff just loves his dangerous fun, though. So it was what it is, I suppose. It is what it is. Genevieve teaming up with Sue and Gabe for this plan was like a diabolical trio coming together. Genevieve pulled off the move masterfully. My question is, why, though? In his interview, Saul said he wanted to go to the inn with Genevieve. I think she is going to regret turning her back on Saul and Teeny. Seems like big move-itis to me, and Tuku will not be loyal to her at all. In the coming episodes, I hope Tuku is targeted. The last thing I want to see is another Reba 4
Amen.
or 3 heading to the end. I'm thinking Gabe will be targeted soon, even though Kyle could still be the obvious vote. Why, oh why does Sue still hate this adorable guy, by the way? I think Genevieve could be in trouble now, too, after burning her stable allies. Since they are my USB, I'm hoping Teeny can finally recover and come back with some moves really soon. I like Rachel as well. Sam may be safe for a little while if he can stop with the chaos and regroup. I'd still like to see a group come together to take out Sue or Gabe, but I have absolutely no clue what will happen. Whatever happens, it should be another great episode next week. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, as always. I can't wait to hear what everyone is thinking. After all, I'm still waiting for just one vote out point. Me too. Have a great week, all. All right, thanks, Tara. Up next, we got a call from David.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. It's David in Pittsburgh, and I guess you can call me confused. Jen is my new USB, and I cannot make any sense of that last vote out, which she led, and I'm hoping maybe you or some of the other callers can give me a rationale for what just happened. At the beginning of the episode, we had 4 Tuku, 3 Lavo, and Gata had 3, but really Andy was kind of a free agent. So if you're going to go by the Survivor playbook, Tuku was the strongest, with Kyle winning 3 in a row, and now Gabe, another Tuku member, wins immunity. And with Kyle vulnerable, the other teams could get together and get a big threat out. As likable a guy as he is, he doesn't seem to have anyone that he's strongly aligned with. And although maybe the castaways aren't seeing what we are, so his name's tossed out, and that's understandable. So then my USB Jen concocts a plan to eliminate Saul. Why? That'll leave only 2 members from Lavo, and Teeny is going to feel betrayed again. So where does that place Jen? On the bottom of old Tuku? Also, I was confused the way she went about it. I mean, strategically, I can understand what she said. She tells Gabe that Saul wants him out, but I thought Teeny was the one that put his name out there first. So I really don't understand this gameplay. And with everybody voting for Saul, is Jen going to be able to even take credit for that move? I always put the players in 2 categories: the players playing to win and the players playing to stay. And right now, the ones that just seem to be playing to stay are Sue, Kyle, even Rachel, now Sam, definitely Teeny. I'm not sure where Carolyn fits in all this. And those playing to win are Gabe, Andy, and Genevieve. And Andy, I just don't see the jury rewarding him for his gameplay. So who knows? I have no idea what's going to happen. But I did enjoy the last couple seasons, the unpredictability of it. Talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Thanks, David. Genevieve's reason that she stated was revenge for the Rome vote.
Yeah.
That's really, she was settling an old score from a couple, 3 vote outs back.
Yep, she'd been waiting for that, and she was ready to make a move.
Yeah, everything lined up. She was able to sense that Sue was open to that and that she could get the other Tukus along with her. So Good stuff. Thanks, David. Next up, we got a call from Parker.
Hey, it's Parker from Indiana, and once again, I've lost a USB, and once again, I've lost a safe point, and once again, I've lost both at the hands of Teeny, because Teeny betrayed my USB. So, again, not great, but another really solid episode. I just need a miracle to not have to sing come the Jabbick of next season. I'm gonna need a miracle. I'm loving this season. I think it's super fun. And I was on the edge of my seat this whole episode. The challenge was super exciting. I don't like that the first two groups out had lost their vote. I don't understand what Jeff's thing is with losing the votes. Because yes, he's talking about like, oh, it's the monster, the survivor's dangerous now. But he's kind of toned down on that. That's not really his thing anymore. I don't think he cares as much about like if the game is dangerous. Everything now, he's like, is it fun? And he's tweaked all the stuff that we're like, Jeff, this sucks, it's not fun. Except for the losing the votes. That's the one thing that he just pushed down on. Won't let go the whole new era. So I don't understand because it's not fun. And dude, you can see the frustration on all of the players' faces. When he announced that, Gabe rolled his eyes. Sam is crying in the confessional because he just freaking got his vote back. And then it's, psych, you're losing it again. Come on, man. It's stupid. And that challenge to get their votes back was terrible. That's not exciting at all. There's no skill involved, nothing like that. And it's stupid. Stack the tiles, see who drops it. Come on, man. That's so dumb. The episode recovered by just the absolute madness that happened right before Tribal Council. Saul is a really likable character, and so you're supposed to be rooting for Saul. Yeah, he does have the burping montage. So they're trying to be, see, Saul's a bit of a buffoon, but you still really like Saul. And so some people like Saul better after that. So like you want a plan to come up, and then a plan does. And then it's just madness right before Tribal Council. And then it's madness during Tribal Council. Just for everybody except Saul to vote for Saul. Crazy. Insane. It was sad, but so exciting. So it was edited perfectly, the lead up to Tribal Council. You gotta imagine that like whiplash kind of thing is like how they feel on the island trying to come up with these plans and try to maintain, okay, who's the vote? Where is this going? Super sad to lose Saul, but what an episode. What an episode to go out on. Man, crazy. All right, that's all I got. I will see you all next time.
Excellent. Thanks, Parker. Next up, we got a call from Shahin.
Hi, John and Stacey and Daughters 5 fans. Hope everyone is well and safe. Another excellent episode. It's like, I don't know, 8 of 9 of them back to back. It's been a really good season so far. And I think the question that you posed, the 4 least favorite of mine to watch, poses another question. Could you pose that question in seasons 41 to 46? And I think the answer is no. I think the inverse is what you would have asked in seasons 41 to 46. In that, who are your most favorite? Which tells you that there were so many unfavorable players in those seasons. The fact that we've got barely any of them in this season, I think if we look through the ones that were voted out thus far, if they hadn't have been voted out, I think they would have had good games, bar maybe TK. The rest, I think, would have been solid players had they hung around. So I think it's a really strong batch of social players, strong strategic thinkers. And in there, we've got some really good physicality too. I really just enjoy watching Kyle. I don't think he's got a social bone in his body because he's just willing to play the whole as long as it's not me thing. But I don't care because it's just really enjoyable to watch as a fan, and harkens back to, I wouldn't say the good old days, but the old days where we used to see someone like a Terry Dietz or someone that just swept challenges. It's just awesome to watch. If it were the 4 that I find the least favourable from this batch of 9, I'd have to say Sue, only because her game seems very, I guess, contingent on Gabe's gameplay, and I think that Gabe would just, at a flip of a coin, would just ditch her. She's very expendable to him. He views everyone as expendable pieces, which is a dangerous game to play if anyone had found out about that gameplay. I think I find Andy kind of psychotic. He really revels in these moments of blindsiding people or being involved in just TV moments, for example. I think he really enjoys it, and I'm fearful that if he made it to the end, he might use I did this and then I managed to turn it all around and look at this moment. I played you all. This was strategic by me, and yeah, I hope he doesn't do that, but I just find him as his personality just unsavory, but he's probably an okay player. Teeny, only because she's in the crossroads, and I'd say probably Carolyn as well. Carolyn, for me, is just a boring player. I don't know if it's her personality. I don't want to be too mean. I'm sure she's a great person again, but her gameplay is not really shining through, and her personality is not shining through either, so it's difficult for me. Genevieve, I don't like, just because of how willing she is to flip and flap, but I respect the game. She's a good player, and Rachel's a good player too. If I had to think of someone to vote out for next week, I think it could be Genevieve. So just throwing it out there. Let's see what happens, but really enjoyable season. Really loving it. Finally, thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Thanks for what you do. Cheers.
Good stuff. Thanks, Shaheen.
All right.
Next up, we got a call from Enadina.
Hello, this is Enadina from the Valley of the Sun, Metropolitan Phoenix, East Side. I'm calling for the first time. Been listening to you ever since On Fire got started, and I went looking for another podcast with more Survivor fans. And awesome. I landed nicely on JSFL. And I've been playing for 3 years. And last night, I was yelling at the screen for the first time in a while because I was envisioning a villain's ending to the season, and all my guys are leaving. Unfortunately, I had Rome as my pick because he is a Phoenix boy, and now I've switched to Kyle, and I'm kind of flabbergasted by the gameplay of Teeny and Saul, and they just seem to be not understanding how conniving the rest of the guys are. And I think that's a voting block of 4. Kind of like we saw in Dee's era, or Dee's year, that 45, we got to see the inside of that voting block of 4. And now I think they're keeping us on the outside and guessing. And so we're just as confused as the rest of the tribe. So I'm so happy to have found you, and I am going to keep on listening.
Awesome. Well, we're thrilled that you're here. Thanks, and good job on your first feedback. Next up, we got an email from Josh the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, well, there goes 15 minutes of my life I'll never get back. Once again, the editors showed lots of chaos for a basically unanimous vote. To paraphrase the movie quote, I am not entertained. My other observations. Got, will Tuku go cuckoo? I don't know. It was stupid and it's fun. Sam said the last tribal was a brilliant acting job by all. Will they win a SAG award for best ensemble? Andy is a certified flipper. Who certified him? IHOP or McDonald's? Rachel's trying to climb a sand dune. Maybe she'll win a camel in a reward challenge. Andy's viewed as a pawn. In chess, pawns sometimes get big promotions. The skeleton bat necklace reminds me of a local Halloween display. They built a 30-foot-long Viking ship and crewed it with skeletons. The Funny Bones Bunch on Facebook. That sounds cool. Andy's and Rachel's talk sounded like two exes discussing getting back together. It was weird. When pairing up, Kyle proposed to Gabe, but he didn't put a ring on it. Like many couples, Sam and Andy have different relationship goals. Andy wants to build bonds. Sam wants someone he can beat. Counterintuitively, Teeny's butt isn't teeny. What is it with Jeff and taking away votes? Let the players play. Amen. What was the point of sending only 2 players back to camp after the challenge? There was an extra clip where you see Sue and Genevieve doing an idol hunt together, although Sue didn't really want to do an idol hunt with anyone. She wanted to do it on her own. So I guess that gave them that opportunity. Jeff's "that's on you" quip makes me question production's quality control. For someone who's only 45, Sue was really slow on the beam. I love that the last phase of the challenge had no peeking. Yeah, that was nice, where they couldn't see the other players. Kyle's self-deprecating, folksy quips make me smile. Gabe politely asked Jeff to not talk to him. Is Miss Manners on the island? Teeny's pained expression montage belongs in a Pepto-Bismol commercial. Yeah, or something else associated with fiber, maybe. I'm surprised the final foothold wasn't a toothpick. Jeff likes dangerous fun. You know, a dancer isn't any good if he loses his necklace while dancing. Kyle was a sitting duck Fortunately for him, duck hunting season was out of season. Saul said he was riding the boat. Too bad it was the Titanic. I would never trust any fence that was only mended-ish. Mended-ish? Mm-hmm. I'm not a fan of the card tower game, but at least they didn't play musical chairs. Genevieve wants to remove subtle threats. Is purple the new salesman lawyers? The card game needed the recorder theme from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Saul's panic face would make an excellent poker face. Yeah. Poor Teeny. If she gets a food reward, it'll probably be a tin can. Genevieve had a license to kill. Boy, Canadian lawyers are tough. Tribal looked like a bad cocktail party. Where were the drinks, Jeff? Rachel, repeat after me. I can neither confirm nor deny. You could have used that talking to Sam, huh? Chaos works for those on the chopping block, except for Saul. I really wish they'd bring back the Ponderosa videos. This cast would be pure gold. I'm with you.
Yes.
Most strategic masterminds don't say holy moly when their plan works. It kind of takes you out of that category, doesn't it? I like that. Jeff says the challenge day was the windiest. I blame the burping. Until this episode, Caroline has been a black hole. Info went in, none came out. The burp fest could have been worse. Think Blazing Saddles campfire scene. Next time Andy's a smiling assassin, Sam doesn't care who he burns, and Sue wants to kill Kyle. Will the episode's title be Survivor CSI? Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks, Joanna and Stacy, for all you do. I can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks, Josh. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Kim.
Welcome to the East Coast, Joanne and Stacy, and thanks to all the Survivor fans who've kept things going in the meantime. I really wished you were moving to North Carolina and I'd somehow get to meet you in person, but maybe someday. I am enjoying this season quite a bit. Everybody's playing, and it's obviously the new era, so it's different, but I see a lot of smart moves, and I've enjoyed it. The challenges or the tweaks they made to the challenges, I have also enjoyed, and I guess my wish going forward is for my USB to win, who is teeny, but I don't know. I really like Rachel. She's a scrappy player, and Genevieve is a force to be reckoned with. Mm-hmm. I can't wait to see what happens. Just really enjoying it. Thanks, everybody. Oh, this is Kim from North Carolina.
Thanks, Kim. And I could indeed hear your cat purring in the background.
Oh, I thought that was Ed.
No, he's tucked in between us as we're sitting here recording. But no, that was her
He
cat.
can barely get in there, but he squeezed in.
Included in her email when she sent the audio in. I wonder if you're going to be able to hear my cat purring in the background. I was like, yes, I can. That was nice. Next up, we got a call from Jade-n-Christine.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Jade.
And Christine.
From Hawaii.
Aloha.
We're so glad to be back. We're so glad you all are back. Yeah. And we can definitely sympathize. After grad school, I moved from Pittsburgh back to Hawaii, and Mom and Dad came up and helped me drive from Pittsburgh to San Diego, where we shipped the car. And it was a very, very long drive.
It was, sometimes 8-10 hours in the car. It was not something that I'd like to do again, although it was an interesting experience. You know, we saw a lot of America. So.
Yeah, got to see a prairie dog / rattlesnake farm in Kansas. That was in Kansas.
I know. I thought we were going to get murdered there. But
anyway, we're enjoying Survivor. We both picked Genevieve for our new USB.
Yay.
And liking her management of multiple people to get the outcome she wanted. It was pretty impressive this time.
Indeed.
And even though tribal council was crazy, it all ended up going her way. Even though it could have fallen apart, but it didn't. So good for her.
Yeah. I thought she was great at managing that. Mm-hmm. But not getting out Kyle when they had the chance, it's sort of mystifying, but obviously they don't see him as a threat, even though he seems to be winning all of the challenges. And I think he could, maybe he'll make history, being the one to win the most challenges. That'd be fun to see.
Yeah. I don't know. There is a record out there. I'm not sure if he could tie it or beat it, but yeah, he could be. Mm-hmm. Next time on, Sue looks so mad though, so she might try to get Kyle out, but I don't think she'll be able to.
Yeah, he could win immunity again.
Exactly. He could just win immunity.
Yeah.
So maybe Gabe?
Gabe could be next, even with Sue saying she's going to play the idol for him.
Yeah, she could. Might.
And they could just make a sneak attack again and just totally blindside him.
Yeah.
But it all depends.
Blindside them both.
Yeah. Depends on who Genevieve wants out, right?
Yeah, that's true. Whoever Genevieve wants out will get out. Go. At least that's what we're hoping, because she's our new USB.
Yeah.
Anyway, we look forward to hearing what everyone else has to say. Thank you.
Thanks.
Fantastic. Good job, Jade-n-Christine. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California, and here are my thoughts on this week's episode of Survivor. I liked watching how Sam and Rachel are down and out, but determined to claw their way off the bottom. No one who is left in the game is giving up, and I love to see that. Andy knows he's a flipper, and he needs to do some damage control. He tells Sam that he was left on his own, and he needed to change his fate. It seems like the talk he had with Sam was a good one. They may not be on the same side again trust-wise, but there is an understanding. They have both done each other wrong, and they need to move forward. Andy also does damage control with Rachel, and I like the way that they tell the story about their relationship. And on the topic of damage control and strategy, I don't think that Teenie is as smooth a talker as she thinks she is. When she talks to people, she likes to make her eyes really big and wide, kind of like that meme of Puss in Boots where his eyes are really wide and he's just looking at you in the cutest way. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I think she thinks she's being cuter than she actually is. I would not buy what she's selling. Saul, on the other hand, keeps a very cool head just like Sam. I'm going to miss that. I enjoyed watching Saul play the game. On to the immunity challenge. I am so tired of the lose your vote twist. I know 3 of them ended up winning their votes back, but 4 people lost their votes. That's too many people. It's just another way of making smaller tribes and smaller voting blocks. I mean, I'm glad they gave 3 of them back their vote, but still, I'm with you, Stacy. Constantly stripping the players of the only real agency they have in the game is not fun to watch. Having situations in the game where you lose your shot at immunity is one thing, but inserting twist after twist into the game where the consequence is players losing their vote is really another, and I don't know, I'm tired of it. And on the topic of getting your vote back, I thought the journey was going to be absolutely stupid, and I was happy to see that the challenge that they had to perform was really fun to watch. And you know what else was fun to watch? All of the strategy talk back at camp and at Tribal Council. I was so entertained by the jockeying for position and the constant questioning of who's voting for who and who is at risk. I was hoping to see a blind side of Sue, but it was Saul's time to go. I'm going to miss him, and as a fan of returning player seasons, I really hope that the powers that be really give Saul a good look and possibly invite him back for a future season. I would like that. So who are my 4 most favorite and least favorite players? Well, to start off, I think everybody is playing a good game. I don't really dislike anybody. I think everybody is giving their best strategy to us. But for just reasons I can't explain, I don't enjoy watching Genevieve, Sam, or Gabe. And I'll throw Teenie in there. I enjoy watching Andy, Kyle, and Rachel. Andy because I'm invested in his success. It's almost like a love-hate relationship there. And I'm neutral on Caroline and Sue, mostly because the edit is neutral on Caroline and Sue. Mm-hmm. But I'll give Sue the edge there. Anyway, that's it from me. I can't wait to hear everyone else's thoughts. Till next week.
Thanks, Jen. I like that Puss in Boots. That's definitely, Teenie's got some aura like that. I was thinking about it more. It's like the child star who was on a TV series and had this one line, and then they spend the rest of their life repeating that line to get attention because they know it'll get a smile or a laugh or something. She's got that kind of vibe. That's not fair to Teenie at all, but that's just the vibe that I get off of her. Yeah, definitely has got the thinks she's cuter than she is kind of thing going. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul in Louisiana here, and yes, it was another fun episode, and I'm saying that because this has probably been the most unpredictable season that I've seen in a very, very long time. Mm-hmm. First off, I can't help but wonder if Sam is finding it harder to coddle Andy now. It's gotta smart knowing that you kept convincing Sierra to keep Andy only to have him flip on her while giving you no warning. Gotta say, though, he's maintaining his cool around everyone, and that is the sign of a good player. It's too bad he wasn't a little better at challenges, though. Now, I didn't care for Gabe at the start of the season. I felt he was introduced to us all full of bravado and grand intentions, and I didn't see him being able to live up to it. But, I mean, the guy is doing it. Mm-hmm. In the challenge, he was hurting from the start, yet he managed to pull through and knock Kyle down a peg. I'm liking Gabe much more now, but there's his one sidekick who I just can't shake my dislike for. Sue is so overly righteous about going after people who wrote her name down, as though she's never written down a name herself. I've got to admire her drive, though. Or do I? I mean, calm down, Sue, or you are going to walk yourself right out of the game. And you can't tell me that Kyle didn't win the lottery this week, even though he lost the challenge. I had him picked to go, but somehow Saul became the bigger threat. Now, I like Kyle enough. I'm just not a big Kyle fan. But if he wins, well, everyone can reflect back on episode 9 and think, wow, did I screw up there? And I'm wondering how much longer Genevieve can stick this out, because she's playing so much better than I thought she ever could. I had her pegged as a possible USB until I heard a line from her in her interview where she said something that told me that she really wasn't in it to win or something. I don't quite recall, but boy, I wish I never heard it, because I might have picked her over Caroline as my USB. Now, I do like the fact that Caroline is more under the radar than Genevieve is, but I'm liking Genevieve's I'm playing the game mentality more than Caroline's. I'm just worried that my USB is going to be seen as a coattail rider. And I love Teeny so much more than I ever thought I would. I think that they won't let her get to the end, though, because I believe most of the players out there feel good about her also. And that brings me to Rachel. She's also got a target on her back, but she's also got an idol. But that'll only get you a few days further into the game if everyone's really gunning for you. It's time to start going after the really big influential threats here, and I feel that Saul wasn't one of them. I'm looking at Gabe mostly, and either Genevieve or Kyle after that. So I think I'm going to pick Gabe to go next. He's the number one threat in the game to me. I just wonder if anyone else can see that. And Sierra, that active witch face that you're currently sporting in the jury box, it isn't doing any favors. You need to smile some, sweetheart. And lastly, I have not forgotten about Andy, who's going to say that he's the smiling assassin. Me? I think he's got a few too many letters on the end of that last word, but hey, who knows? Okay, take care, everyone, and enjoy the next episode. Bye.
Yeah, I like that. Good job, Paul. I wonder if Teeny will be able to get revenge for Saul. They haven't shown, and she's the one who's targeted Gabe multiple times just by asking the question, what about Gabe? Should we target Gabe? Let's get rid of a Tuku.
Well, then she could be next.
Yeah, there is that too. Genevieve could decide maybe you should join Saul
Though
on
I'm
the
not
jury.
sure if they see her as a threat.
You don't get that sense, right? You don't get the sense that outside of winning immunities, that they don't really see Kyle as a threat and they don't really see Teeny as a threat. Rachel's been tagged a threat. Sam's been tagged a threat. Gabe has been tagged a threat. I don't know if we've seen anybody talk about Genevieve. Saul was talking about targeting Sue, so he saw her as a threat. He said they had a really good relationship, though, that they bonded when they came together at the merge. They had some work with dementia in common.
Well, it didn't last long once she knew that he was coming after Gabe.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, I'm over that now.
Yes, Sue's pragmatic in that regard, I guess. Saul also said in the interviews that his big regret was not asking. He knew about Sam's expired idol that Sam's been holding on to, the one he hid because he didn't want Andy to know that he had it.
Right.
Yeah, and he said he wished he had asked Sam to, if he could borrow that so that he could pretend that he had something to try to throw him off.
Sam would have just told him it was fake.
Well,
Unless
Sam was on Saul's side at the end that we saw.
Well, but he still voted for him, so
yeah,
he went with the majority.
Once you figure out the way things are going, it is in your best interest to go ahead and vote. I mean, Teeny did that too. What Saul said was they did exactly what I expected them to do. Otherwise, they get targeted for throwing votes against someone else. And so to go ahead and vote for Saul at least doesn't draw attention to themselves in that regard or make somebody want to get revenge for those votes coming their way. Good stuff. Thanks, everybody. We really appreciate you sharing your thoughts and your predictions with us today. We enjoyed it. We always appreciate hearing from you. We want to say a big thanks to Kim and John for your donations. We greatly appreciate that. That goes towards our operating cost, and that's a big help. Thank you so much for that.
And if you're playing in JSFL this season, don't forget to make your Week 10 picks for one person voted off and 4 people who are still safe at the end of the episode. I finally did run the numbers on the dates.
Yeah.
And we have to have, there's 5 more votes where you have to have safe.
Oh, yeah, we were talking
picks.
about this, the safe picks
my
for
goodness.
JSFL.
I've used everybody
At least
except
3 times?
one at least 3 times already.
So now you essentially, we both have to, other people are probably in this situation too, but you have to get these next vote offs. Not only do you have to get the vote out right, but you have to be putting safes on people who are coming next in the vote off so that you'll have enough left at the end for the 5 that are there on December 18th. Yeah, it's going to make it super challenging.
What would be fun is, I too would like to get a vote out this season. Would be nice.
That would be fun.
That would be fun. And but hey, I'm afraid it's just I'm gonna start losing safe picks.
Yes, the points are just the points are gonna be towards the end. They're gonna be disappearing rapidly.
Yeah. So it's
not going to have any left.
Wow, I have to do it 5 more times.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Good grief.
So be watching how many safe picks you have. Only 6
be mindful.
Per person.
Yes.
And I'm halfway there.
All right. Well, we'll be back on Wednesday with our next recap. Have a good one.